to be back with you after Father's Day. Just so thankful for Father's Day. So thankful for fathers, our Heavenly Father, our real fathers.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a father.
Not yet.
I don't even have a pet. So, tell us about being a father. What do you got for him?
Well, to be a father or become a father is kind of hard. My situation was kind of different from different fathers that you see out there. But in this time right now, I involve close together with my kids, and it's kind of you see in the mirror your past, like the things that you be doing when you was younger, and then your kids do the same thing as you do, but it's different era. But in the time we don't have no Androids, no phones, nothing like that. Now everything's technology, but I still do the same thing. It's like continue our past, but doing the present. It's something miracle. The only thing I may say is like right now we're more open. I mean, I'm more open in different situations. Our education is kind of different. Our respect has been changed. Sometimes we say we've been changed instead to be better. I think that will sometimes be for worse. But in the other part is that we're more open and reclining about the decision we happen in this kind of community, especially about this fight about Black Lives Matters, which is true. We need to be, supporting 100% because no matter what color you are, we have to be equally. We have to respect each other, and that's it. Man. As a be a fighter is an amazing thing, and sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes you stress out, but the good point about it is like when you reach the limit, or when you try to convince your kids you are right, they're always gonna say you're wrong until they grow up. That's how it's part of life. You can avoid what they want to live in. You just can tell them, listen, this is your life, it's your choice. That's it. You just support them. Period.
Great. Just one of my reports from this week is just that I had gone paddle boarding and my phone got wet. It wasn't working. I prayed and it started working again.
Oh.
Just like that.
Oh.
And so
This one?
this is the same message, same phone that we're recording on right now. And this is the same message that I had last week, is that pray for the little things. And it keeps happening. Like, things don't work, I pray. And then
It's
it works.
supposed to
It's
be
crazy.
the iPhone is supposed to be waterproof.
It's supposed to be, but it wasn't working. It wouldn't charge either. And it just started charging all, prayer, and then it started working. So it's pretty amazing.
Okay. All right.
What else do you have for us?
No man, today's Monday, but was technically yesterday was all day. My kids surprised me with these pancakes, how you call it, French toast, egg. That was an amazing. And besides that one, you see sometimes you expecting a gift. Or people expecting a gift, but the best gift is, to me, was the videos how from childhood until they grow until now.
So they did a video of pictures from them as like the children, being small kids to
until now, and they made me cry so bad. So
and they
bad.
told them not to cry at the end in the video.
And I was crying like a baby.
Right? Yeah, it was an awesome video. It's so special. Extremely special.
What about you? What you do to your father? Oh, you send.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. If I can say that.
Yeah, we'll see.
But that was nice.
Let's talk about it another time. But
Yeah.
the Bible calls us to honor our parents and to honor those that came before us. And so I think that's just something I think about, is like, that's why we have Mother's Day. It's so important. That's why we have Father's Day. And the fathers are the leaders of our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you're called to be a leader to your family. And, I try to be a leader, and, I hope to be a leader. But it's something that we're called to do. And it's not fun being a leader, right? You gotta do the hard things. You gotta make the hard decisions, and you gotta set a good example, or you want to at least,
Yeah,
So,
yes,
it's a
true.
challenge.
And a special happy Father's Day to Kyle and to Mo. We know they got kids, and
Definitely.
and this guy coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of these days.
One of those has to be coming. I
Yeah.
can't wait for that.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And so, one thing I think about is the best leader was Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I found myself in a legal situation where I had people accusing me and accusing my client, and I was like, man, and it was so emotionally challenging. It's so frustrating. And I'm like, man, Jesus went through this and he passed every test. He explained everything. Like I was so angry, I couldn't even speak well. I couldn't even get out my thoughts because I was just so mad. And I'm like, Jesus went through this. You know what I mean? Jesus had to deal with other people in the same circumstance, and he passed every test. He explained everything perfect for all of time.
Because he already knows.
But it's amazing. It's just amazing. Like when you try to live up to his, when you try to be like him, none of us are gonna be like him. But when you try, you understand. You're like, man, this guy's incredible. The fact that he could do it the way he did it is just, it's amazing. And so that's why I aspire to be like him. That's why I follow him. That's why I love the Bible. That's why I love Jesus. And so it's definitely a challenge. It's definitely a challenge, but it makes us better. It makes us stronger.
It's like when to come here to Brickell is kind of hard to me because I live in Boca. Come sometimes I get Uber or Lyft or take the bus. But today since I got this phone, I was watching a movie again about just mercy, right? And I just say, why we support BLM, Black Lives Matters, right? But what about if I go to Brickell, gives me my idea, I'm paying half of my skin black, I'm other half wearing my skin, right? Just to support and let it know. Even I don't have the skin in black, but my inside of me, I have it supported. And it seems like maybe some people won't like it. Some people they will hate it, say, yes, I'm gonna leave it like that. But I just wanna say, man, it's like what happened in our country, what happened in all the world. We gotta support this. I'm not gonna say this. We gotta support most of the black people because they are really suffer. And one of my friends say that means because you born black, you know how to play. You're guilty. Matter of fact, you have to be like yourself. Be normal. What's the difference? And it's thanks God that we were talking about that. And normal. We gotta express our thanks God. All this media goes in that way. Like they need to express out themselves.
Yeah, and it's incredible that people are even treated differently because of the color of their skin.
Happens to me in Spanish. Happens to me as one too.
Of course, and it's terrible that people can't just love. You know what I mean? Just love and not be judgmental, but we all have to acknowledge reality as it is and how it, how other people's reality, not just our own, not just mine being like a white male, but also acknowledge others' reality of, maybe being a black female or maybe being an immigrant that doesn't have papers. You know what I mean?
This is my question. My son asked me the other day.
Like people are oppressed as immigrants as well. You know what I mean? We're all just people.
We're just people. My son asked me, Papi, if I got a girlfriend which is black, yeah, that will be okay. What was my best answer? I said, Papi, no matter what you choose, you're gonna be happy because the person's loving you. You don't look for the colors of the skin, you look for the heart. I say, Papi, I hope everybody's like you because people is always looking you with different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And especially when you're talking to your kids, you want them to learn, but there's bad things that have happened, but I also see like things improving as well in terms of like creating change and like showing, educating everyone. I've been educated myself, but I think everyone's been educated to an extent about what's going on, what are the problems, actually seeing these horrible things on video that you would never expect to happen to anybody. And it's just like, why would anybody treat another person like that? What?
Even a dog.
Yeah, you wouldn't treat a dog like that. You wouldn't treat a worm like that. You know what I mean? So it's terrible. People need Jesus. We need Jesus. Everyone needs Jesus. And the main thing about Jesus that we need is how to treat each other, which is love. And we're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna jump into it in a moment. And it kind of reflects pretty well, right? Pretty well to what we're talking about. Is there anything you want to add before we get into the scripture?
Yes, everybody who's listening out there, yes. If you have any moment to hesitate, and your neighbors or your friends or maybe you choose, oh, I like him because he have blue eyes, I like him because he's white, or maybe he like because he's big. Don't hesitate, don't look for that, just look through the heart, you know what I mean? It's like, look who is your neighbor, and try to be with them, and together, you know, make this world better, make this thing together, so we, when we go out there, we can go with our pride, like say, we are only one, we know our, you know, yeah, we're equally, things like that.
And you just reminded me, I was reading, and I'm still unclear on the original law, but I was listening to another sermon about stoning the woman. We talked about it two times ago, the prostitute. And you talked about how the law had changed when Jesus came along, and
He say that.
we know that to be true. But you know, the original law was that she was supposed to be stoned to death, and her husband was supposed to be stoned to death.
Okay.
And they talked about Jesus wrote in the sand, and they're like, what did he write? And you know what we did? We knew he wrote, even though this is like metaphorically or like an analogy, but he wrote a new law. You know what I mean? Which is forgiveness. And you know, he told her, sin no more. Go off. I don't accuse you. He didn't accuse her, and he said, sin no more. And so that was a change,
power,
you know?
because he got the power to do that.
Yeah.
Believe me, when even he didn't be sacrificed in that time yet, he knows he's gonna be sacrificed for them. So he give it like, okay, you know what? You're the people who commit this sin, so I'm gonna let you go free, because in the ending I'm gonna die for you. So I guess he do that part.
Right? And the other thing is that, so kind of like what I was saying before, so they ask him, okay, what are you gonna do, Jesus? And it's supposed to be a setup. Jesus is supposed to kill her, right?
Yeah.
And he takes his time and he writes, and he's just ignoring people. Like they're, you know, trying to set him up. They're trying to trick him, and he writes in the sand. He's just ignoring them. Like
What he
peaceful,
writing? Good
perfect
question.
peace.
What he
Yeah,
writing?
nobody knows what he's writing. Maybe they're like, maybe he wrote a heart. Maybe he wrote all their names and what they did. You know what I mean? And they were like, oh, I don't want him to judge me. But the thing that's awesome is that Jesus is the judge, right? And we saw how he judged her. We know he's a judge. We know she committed a crime. And what did he do? He said, you know, be free and sin no more. And we're going to talk about that today. But I just, it reiterated the point that you had said before, and we had discussed it, and I keep hearing, you know, more details about it. So I wanted to kind of express it from what you said before. So we're jumping in. Dispute over children Jesus's opponents are. So we're going through two sections today. It's John 8:31. John 8:31. Dispute over whose children Jesus's opponents are. So, to the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teachings, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. They answered him, we are Abraham's descendants, and have never been slaves of anyone. How can you say that we shall be set free? Jesus replied, very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So if the son sets you free, you will be free indeed. I know that you are Abraham's descendants, yet you are looking for a way to kill me, because you have no room for my word. I am telling you what I have seen in the Father's presence, and you are doing what you have heard from your father. Abraham is our father, they answered. Jesus said, if you were Abraham's children, then you would do what Abraham did. As it is, you are looking for a way to kill me, a man who has told you the truth that I heard from God. Abraham did not do such things. You are doing the works of your own father. We are not illegitimate children, they protested. The only father we have is God himself. Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me, for I have come here from God. I have not come on my own, God sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you are unable to hear what I say. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies. Yet because I tell the truth, you do not believe me. Can any of you prove me guilty of sin? If I am telling the truth, why don't you believe me? Whoever belongs to God hears what God says. The reason you do not hear is that you do not belong to God. Jesus claims about himself. Then the Jews answered him, Aren't we right in saying that you are a Samaritan and demon-possessed?" Jesus said, "I am not possessed by a demon, but I honor my Father, and you dishonor me. I am not seeking glory for myself, but there is one who seeks it, and he is a judge. Very truly I tell you, whoever obeys my word will never see death." At this they exclaimed, "Now we know you are demon-possessed. Abraham died, and so did the prophets. Yet you say that whoever obeys your word will never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died, and so did the prophets. Who do you think you are?" Jesus replied, "If I glorify myself, my glory means nothing. My Father, whom you claim is your God, is the one who glorifies me. Though you do not know him, I know him. If I said I did not, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him and obey his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced at the thought of seeing my day. He saw it and was glad." They said to him, "Yet you are not 50 years old, and you have seen Abraham?" "Very truly, I tell you," Jesus answered, "before Abraham was born, I am." At this, they picked up stones to stone him, but Jesus hid himself, slipping away from the temple grounds. And so I like to call that Ninja Jesus. And that's the end of the end of that passage, but it's real deep. It's real interesting. There's a lot to say with it. What do you think, Joel? We could break it down paragraph by paragraph.
Okay.
All right. So Jesus said, "If you hold to my teaching, you are my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." So we constantly hear about Jesus being the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. So the truth will set you free. So freedom comes from Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and truth comes from Jesus.
Okay.
If you hold to my teachings, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth. So from his teachings, you get the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Mm-hmm.
They answered him, "We are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves of anyone. How can you say that we shall be set free?" Jesus replied, "Very, very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin."
Because
So that's interesting, right? Because that's a generalization that he's saying, everything I say is truthful, and now I'm saying, everyone who sins is a slave to sin.
yeah, so basically it's talking about us because we are them.
Yeah, we're all sinners, right?
We are sinners. So basically it's talking about us. No matter if you are right now in front of the camera talking about God, maybe I do something wrong that I didn't like it, and I've been lying, I've been commit sin. So is where Jesus said, like, if you commit sin, you're a liar, so you're a sinner. Now if you commit, like, if you like say, Jesus, why do this, I'm so sorry, things like that, and he will forgive me and continue with my life. But he already know my heart. I will not forget. I ask for forgiveness.
I think as well, like, when I think of being a slave to sin, I think of like addiction, right?
Oh,
The more you say you addicted to alcohol, the more you drink, the more you gotta drink more, and it overtakes your life. It owns you. But when you get Jesus, he sets you free. It's the best resolution to any addiction, and you no longer have that need for it. I mean, I think that's how he breaks the chain of slavery. I think that's how he sets us free. And so I think, it's something to where, if you're encumbered in sin, just pray, God, please set me free. Please set me free from this, and try to align yourself with Jesus and what he was doing and how he did it. And that's going to be the best way to break that chain. I call it a chain because it bounds us with what it is we're addicted to, or whatever weakness it is that we have.
Yeah, and also they were talking about they was claiming they become from their sons or from Abraham. And what happens, like he say, if you are sons with Abraham, you should know who I am. And you don't follow me, you don't follow my rules, so you know are either Abraham or nobody else. You're from the devil, and that's the part he is get like. I believe in that time he got mad to say, you guys wanna kill me, and I speak the truth, and you basically see my miracles. Basically, already born before Abraham, and you still don't believe my words, even believe my father. So you offended me, you offended my father. Because I remember he said one thing: if you wanna see my father, you gotta come through me. All right. So now those people wanna kill him for no reason. So that's the devil we're talking about, right there. So
Yeah, it's pretty. This is real deep. And so he says, a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a
Mm-hmm.
son belongs to it. So he talks about if you don't have Jesus, you're a slave to sin, and you're not part of like the family of God.
Mm-hmm.
But a son belongs to it, and if the son sets you free, you'll be free indeed. So he talks about as a son, when you bring in Jesus, you become like a son to the Father, and you get freedom as well. So he's kind of tying them back together. He says, "I know you're Abraham's descendants," and he's agreeing with them. But there's two things. There's an earthly father and a heavenly father, and Abraham is more like an earthly father. He was there, but he's not God.
Exactly.
And Jesus was there the whole time. Jesus was there when Abraham came. Everybody came after Abraham, and Jesus is a heavenly God. But Jesus also came down to earth
Yeah,
as
but
a heavenly
but
God.
I think so we can compare the rules or the Abraham law, which is different Jesus law, and it's completely different because Jesus come from heaven through there. Abraham come from mortals. It's completely different. I think Abraham become from Eden and Eva, right? Eva and Eden
I think he was after them, but he came from man.
from men. So
Yeah.
there's nothing to do. It's a mortal. It's a human being.
Mhm.
God is God, and Jesus is completely different. You're talking about the Alpha and the Omega is completely different. Nothing to do with that. We can compare Abraham law with Jesus law. So, technically speaking, this human being is really confused. Oh, because we see Abraham, we follow. It's like a president. Oh, we adore our president. He do a lot of much for the president. But unfortunately, that president is no the big God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's nothing.
It's nothing.
Nothing to God.
Nothing to God.
I heard this thing that's like, I think Joel Osteen said it. And he's like, anything any man does on earth, nobody can stop the sun from rising. Nobody can stop from the waves from forming. You know what I mean? And so like, God has control, and God is pinpoint on control. You know what I mean? The earth is not gonna stop spinning, and so I found that comforting.
That's nice. That's really nice.
So Jesus says, "I know you're Abraham's descendants. You're looking for a way to kill me, because you have no room for my word." So I think what he talks about is like when you're void of Jesus, it's like they almost, if you have a void of Jesus, it's almost like you have a space for the devil, or you have a space for hate, and they're trying to kill Jesus, and obviously he's not having that. He's not happy about it. I'm telling you what I've seen in the Father's presence, and you're doing what you've heard from your father. Abraham is our father, they answered. If you were Abraham's children, then you would do what Abraham did. So Abraham followed God, but they're not following God, is what Jesus is contesting. As it is, you are looking for a way to kill me, a man who told you the truth that I heard from God. Abraham did not do such things. And so Abraham's Jesus is telling over and over, I'm telling the truth, I'm telling the truth, I'm telling the truth. This is what I tell you, I'm telling you it's true. So they were offended by what Jesus said, and it's understandable. I mean, they don't sound crazy if you just live within the world and you don't understand the spiritual world. It makes sense what they're saying, but what he's doing is he's saying everybody that's like atheists out there, everybody's gonna experience these same thoughts and these same objections to Jesus and the spiritual world.
Mm-hmm.
And these are like these are the responses that we have to make as disciples of Jesus in order to explain to people how the spiritual world works and how Jesus works. It's the same thing. It's the same reason for why you should follow Jesus is why he's telling people to follow him. It's the same logic, the same explanation. Is like,
yes, it is.
Hey, you're a slave to sin, and if you have Jesus, he'll set you free. The person who follows the Son is free indeed. So Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me, for I have come here from God. And so he's saying, you should love me because God loves me. I have not come on my own, God sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? So there's where he's frustrated, right? How can you not understand? I'm telling you. Because you are unable to hear what I say, you belong to your father, the devil. And so he's saying like that I think what it is like the devil desires people not to be with Jesus or not to follow Jesus. To him, that's winning. He wants to bound people in sin. He wants to collect souls
remember
that don't go to heaven.
If we're talking about the devil is so powerful. It's really powerful. They can do things you can imagine. But, and even it's hard to, as a human being, to follow Jesus and God with the devil presence. Because the devil will tempting you no matter what in a minute. You in a minute, it's like you say, like, let's put it this way. What is the most valuable thing the devil does? We play with you about money. Money is his thing. It's not about Jesus. Jesus said, "May the rich appear, no here." So if you say like, "Hey man, forget about this. What we're doing. Sign this. I give you $1 million. Forget about this, and we do something else. I'll give you $7 million. I can buy a house. I can buy a boat. I can buy a car. I can build a business. Let me do it." That's a tricky thing. And Jesus is different. Listen, you don't need $1 million. What you need to continue what you're doing, because when you die, your soul is gonna be free out there. So it's two things. The devil always testing you things. The devil always gonna put in your front away. It's like you have a good woman in your house, right? And then let's put this way: you put a different woman, like gorgeous, like the best, put this way. But you don't know she's the best. The best is the one that you have it. So it's tempting you. Or even the best car. You have an old car. You have an example, an old Toyota, old car. We compare now cars, and they say, "Listen, because I will give you this Maserati or this Lamborghini, but I love my car. Even you're not supposed to get that something, but an idea. I love my car. My car take me everywhere, never give me any problem. I know I'm gonna get a new one, but what you need to do, giving away. So it's like that. You're not giving away things. You're not giving away your what you work for, because this is a job that you do it. In the human being, it's a job, but it's your soul you've been doing right now. Everything what you speak right now, everything what you do, is your soul. It's like your thing. It's like, why you be doing this? Nobody's paying you to do this. It's because you wanna redeem to Jesus. Hey, listen, I get you. You give me your life, I'm gonna pay back your life for something. Let me do something for you. Is what you be doing this. Not that they will say, "No man, forget about it." It's like yesterday. "Man, yo, go over there. Go over there and forget about me. You got another week to do that." And then what happened? In this 20 minutes, say, "No, let's do this. We gotta do this." Because if we don't surrender to God or Jesus, I don't want to surrender to the devil. Things pass by. Even we got our issues right now, economy, whatever it is, you can't surrender to the devil, because God always says He's going to prove you. Amen. You are right here, you know. I want you to keep building this thing. I want you to keep building this thing to you can see me up there. I don't want you to be here now. So things like that, you know. I mean, it's like you just surrender to Him, and He will bless you no matter what. The blessing is gonna come in now or later. They will come. A storm is gonna come, but the storm never lasts forever. If you got 7 days in a week, and 7 days is gonna rain 1 day, or maybe 4 days, maybe 5 days, but they gotta stop.
Yeah.
It's nature.
And Jesus says, what you give to Him, He'll multiply it by 100 times. You know what I mean?
I forgot about that
10
one.
or 100 times.
So you only more? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why we do it, right?
Yeah,
and,
we do.
And it's following His advice, right? This is what He's telling us. And there's benefits to it. And the devil's powerful, but Jesus is a lot more powerful. The devil can't tempt Jesus. Jesus can protect you from the devil. And, you know, I think it's just, yeah, it's going to present challenges, but, you know, it's also, we're growing and we're learning from the challenges and we're getting better through them. Okay, let me see. Another thing I want to say was that, and this is real important to me, is that the reasons people should follow Jesus is that, and this is something, you know, we should just do from the beginning. It's like, hey, you're here. I know people, everybody I know has stress. Everybody I know has guilt.
Yep.
Everybody I know has been condemned. And when you follow Jesus, you give all those things up. Everybody I know sin. I kind of like to leave sin out of it, because everybody uses sin, right? And it's like, people feel bad about it. But let's talk about guilt. Hey, I made a mistake. You know what? Jesus is going to wipe it clean. You got a clean slate. You start fresh. Who doesn't love to start fresh? You know what I mean? We all need to start fresh.
But
And
it's
I have to forgive myself constantly because I'd be like, man, I shouldn't have done something I did a long time ago.
but
And then it's like,
Go
you
ahead.
know, being a Jesus follower is you let it go, you know? Just let it go and move on. You know, thank you, Jesus, for taking away my guilt. Anxiety. Hey, I gotta pay the bills. I gotta make money. I need to get this done. Oh, somebody's mad at me because I was late or I said something I didn't mean, or I acted, you know, I let my emotions get the best of me. Jesus is gonna take your anxiety. Jesus is gonna take your problems. We all have that and we all need it. Period. And so I was thinking, you know, I always think about this stuff when I'm running, but I'm like, why do I follow Jesus? What's my best benefit? And that's it. That's it. Take your guilt, take your problems, take your anxiety, and you'll be free. When the sun says free, free indeed. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Sorry. I paused briefly, but we'll keep going. The Jews answered him, aren't we right in saying that you are a Samaritan and demon possessed? So isn't that funny? They asked Jesus if he's demon possessed, right? And he's like, no, I'm not Jesus, demon possessed. Was he a Samaritan? He wasn't a Samaritan either, right? He's
No.
from Israel, but he didn't argue the Samaritan part. Notice that? So it's not really about regreso regresas por favor. But it's not about where he's from. I think that's why he doesn't respond to it. But he can guarantee that he's not demon possessed, and I think he responds to that right away. I honor my Father, you dishonor me. I am not seeking glory for myself, but the one who seeks it. And that's one thing I love about Jesus. It's never about Jesus. You know what I mean? All he does is sacrifice and give. That's all
only
he
he
does.
mentioned is God.
The only thing he mentions.
He didn't even say, "I'm doing." I'm never gonna read the scripture. He say, "I'm doing this for me." He always say, "I'm doing this for my Father." And the other thing he says, like he always says things. He sent me here, so he is always mentioning those things. He always say, "He sent me here, and I do for my Father, nothing else." He never. I mean, we never should claim Jesus, right? The last thing he saying was, "If you come to me, you're gonna see my Father." That's different.
Yeah.
But everything else is like my Father, my Father, my Father, my Father. Even when he pray, he put his Father first.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he is talking about his Father first. So imagine that. I mean, if I got my Father, or I have my Father, right? And like I'm gonna mention my Father 24/7. That would be, to me, that would be tired. Like,
Right.
oh, my Father told me this. Or even you're talking to you as a person. Or you know, my Father told me how to use the computer. My Father told me how to swim. So everything's about Father, 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 Father. I mean, you're getting annoyed, and you're getting like, wow, so much Father. But for him, it's different. Like he's talking about his Father. My Father teach me. My Father sent me. My Father taught me. My Father is giving these visions. So everything's about his Father telling you those things. And every time you read about it, you don't get tired because everything his Father.
You know, it's really funny, and I didn't realize this before, but whenever he said my Father, I think about God, right? But for Jesus, it really is his Father, because he didn't have a father, right? The Immaculate Conception, and
Exactly.
God put it in her. So it's like, for him, you have that literal, direct spiritual connection
Mhm.
between, oh, my Father sent me, my Father did this.
Exactly.
Which is, it's kind of interesting. An interesting little twist that I hadn't considered before. But you're right. All he talks about is, you know, my
His
Father
Father.
says this, my Father says that. He has no self-interest, zero self-interest, and there's no other reason to do it. Why would we all sacrifice ourselves for the door? You know what I mean? We wouldn't do it unless there was a special meaning to it, or something.
Even when he
significant.
died, when he crucified, he said, "Father, please, I'm here. Take this." You know, everything.
Yeah, forgive them for they know not what they do. You know what I
Exactly,
mean?
so-
He's still forgiving. He's still helping people. It's amazing.
Right.
Amazing. And so, very truly I tell you, whoever obeys my word will never see death. And so, you know, we know about eternal life when you're a Jesus believer. At this they exclaim, now we know you're a demon possessed. Abraham died and so did the prophets. Yet you say, whoever obeys your word will never take death. And so Jesus defeated death, hell, and the grave, which is like a phrase you'll hear often. but you know, he died and then he resurrected. So he wasn't really dead, it's the spirit, you know what I mean? Maybe his earthly body was dead, but the spirit never died. You know, he sits next to the Father in heaven. Jesus replied, if I glorify myself, my glory means nothing. My Father, who you claim as your God, is the one who glorifies me. So he's not saying I glorify myself, but God is glorifying me. Though you do not know him, I know him. If I said I did not, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him and I obey his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced at the thought of seeing my day. He saw it and was glad. And so he's talking about like going back and saying that Abraham was seeing forward about what was going to come. Do you think he's talking about Abraham spiritually in heaven or Abraham alive on earth?
I think we're spiritual. Is where he. The thing is like Abraham, he don't know Jesus in the beginning, but when he died, he went up there. He find out Jesus exists. So when he's talking about like, I know Abraham from the beginning because when he died, Abraham died, Jesus and God was there. So surprise for Abraham when he died, he saw like surprise. Oh, you're here, and you're gonna go to the earth saving everybody. So it's like that. So when he's talking about that part, it's like talking about like I already knew him from the one. Talking about when he went to heaven.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that challenge of like God and Jesus being one. Because he says, okay, they say, you're not yet 50 years old and you have seen Abraham. He says, very truly I tell you, before Abraham was born, I am. And so, who is God? God is I am. God is everything. God is omnipresent, the Alpha and the Omega. And so he's saying, I think he's saying Abraham did know him because he did know God.
They know him, but they know him when he died. To me, it's like, I don't know, that's the person that's confusing. God is God, Jesus are Jesus. Both spiritually are the same, all right? But I think that it's like, I put it two different persons. I don't know you, but to me, God is one
like they're
person.
separate and the same. That's the hard part to understand.
It's like me and you, we're working for a law firm. But you are young and Joel, but we're working for a single firm. It's actually the same thing. God is God, and Jesus are Jesus. They work together and work to save the humans. I mean, the humanity, right? But they are different ways. Because when he come to her, he say, "I'm gonna do the rules of my father. I'm gonna." It's like I do this for because of my father. So.
And he talks about them being separate.
Exactly. So it's been separate. So when Abraham died, to me it's like he don't know in the beginning who was Abraham. Like Abraham don't know about Jesus. God talked to Abraham all the time in the Old Testament. But when Abraham died, all right, he went up there and find out like he gonna send God's gonna send Jesus to earth to save everyone. So that's why I say I already knew Abraham. They're talking to them like I already knew Abraham before he never born. You know, that part is kind of
funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Yeah, because Jesus is talking like he's God there. He's like, before Abraham was born, I am.
Exactly.
So he doesn't say I was born. He says just I am.
Yes, I am.
And I think that's just a reference to God saying, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I am the great. I'm the great I am, or I am what I am." And so it is kind of tricky. It's kind of challenging. Jesus is real deep, real deep. And so they picked up stones to stone Jesus, and he disappears into the night. He hid himself. And so they were trying to kill him. They're trying to kill him. Jesus knows it. He's teaching them. He's frustrated. He's explaining to them, and you know, Jesus is on a mission, and nothing's gonna stop the mission, other than himself. But he didn't allow himself to stop it. You know, through all the trials, all the tribulations, nothing could stop it. The king that tried to kill him at birth couldn't stop him. Joseph couldn't stop him. Mary couldn't stop him.
There's something.
These people trying to kill him couldn't stop him.
Yeah,
the guards couldn't stop him.
That's the thing. Something that comes to my mind.
He couldn't stop himself. The devil couldn't stop him. Nobody could stop Jesus on his mission.
Let's put it this way: when we argue, when you fight, when you want to fight another man, when we argue, we want to fight another guy, right? You have so much hate. You want to fight. You want to really fight into that. How come Jesus has the power to don't let him do anything on him? Like, okay, you want to kill me, Go ahead, do it.
God.
And, go ahead, do it. But in the ending, those people, they don't do nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, when you want to kill somebody, I mean, you can maybe recollect all the murders they have on jail, right? You say, oh, I kill him because I want to kill him. But when you have intention to kill, you will kill. It's your desire. You want to kill him. But in this thing, when everything goes through the Bible, it's a lot of people that want to kill him, and they always avoid the killing. How? I don't know. I mean, because if I'm gonna kill you, John, I'm gonna kill you. So I got the power to do that. But you got a way to seduce. I don't know, to avoid that, and then we never did.
Yeah, so he has complete control. You know what I mean? He knew that people were gonna disagree with him, and he tried to convince them, and he told them the truth, and they didn't believe the truth. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of people today that don't believe the truth, and they're aware. They're aware of what it is. Imagine how much easier it would be to be in God's presence, to be among Jesus himself.
Yes.
And but it was also more radical, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's true.
a lot of people had one belief, and then there's somebody else that comes along with something completely different. And so it's like, okay, it goes completely against culture and how we do things. And so it's revolutionary. And that was part of the challenge, was the cultural change, a cultural shift, and the challenge against their beliefs as they had it at that time. And so, I just praise Jesus and give him credit for everything he did and the challenges he overcame. And I know that it's more than, more than what I can do. I think he encourages us. He says, you can do better than I did. You'll do greater miracles than me. But we'll never be a greater man than him. But, we can do miracles, greater miracles than he did. And so that's exciting. He did cool stuff. He did amazing things. And there's no telling what you can do with Jesus behind you. If Jesus is within you, if Jesus is working your body for you, you're gonna do the same things. The same things that he did, he'll do it through you, and it's incredible. It's amazing. I've experienced it. I've seen it. I've felt it, and it's just unbelievable. It's I can't really explain it. I don't. Jesus just is powerful, all powerful, and I hope everybody else explains it. I hope it helps you feel more confident in your faith. It's easy to lose faith. I keep reading the Old Testament about how these kings, like God would get behind a king, and they would have great success.
Okay.
And then they would just forget about him and start worshiping like Baal, B-A-A-L. They'd go worship another god, and then he'd kill him. And then he threatened. He would send like plagues, and everybody start dying. And then they decide they love God again. And then a new king would come, and he would love God, and God would give him prosperity, 30 years, 40 years, prosperity.
He forget it.
And then they forget him again. This happens like hundreds of times in the Old Testament. I'm reading through 2nd Chronicles right now. Hundreds of times, over and over again, they forget God. So as I'm reading this, I'm like, you know what? Don't ever let me forget God, or where the things come from that I get, and where my peace and my forgiveness and my love, where it comes from. It comes from God. So I'm here to proclaim it. I don't want to make the same mistake that people made over and over and over and over again. Please God, steer me away from anything like that. I want to be consistent. I want to be smart. I don't want to make stupid mistakes. And you see people make those mistakes over and over and over again, and they all die. They die horrible deaths. I actually read one story, and I loved it. So there's this great army that was gonna attack. I think it was Judah. Judah was part of Israel, and this great army was gonna attack, and they were certainly gonna lose. So they decided to pray. They're like, God, please protect us. Please save us. The king was taunting them. Hey, you're gonna die. We're gonna kill you. We're more powerful than you. The king taunted them, and he said, did your God save all the other nations that I destroyed? Did your God save all the other cities I destroyed? No God can save me from me. So this guy has this powerful army marching, and God says, you're gonna be okay, don't worry. That's what he tells them, and they're like, what do you mean we're gonna be okay? There's a a powerful army coming, and so they march out to fight. And God says, I'll take care of it. He tells a prophet that to tell them. And they're like, okay, we're going to have faith and we're going to pray. So they have faith, they pray, they go to march. So while this army is marching, an angel comes down and just like kills them all, right? And then the king gets scared and he runs to like their like church area, which is a different God, a different church. And while he's there, like the priests kill him. They chop his head off or something like that. And so it's like this guy who was like in one paragraph, like one sentence, he's saying, where's your God? Your God is terrible. Your God is nothing. And he has the most power. 3 sentences later, he's dead. And his armies are dead. Like this. And it'll happen like that. And I mean, I believe it 100%. I have no lack of faith in it. And it can happen for you in other situations. Whatever it is that you're working towards in your life, things can change in an instant. They can change for the better, and they will when you have faith. And so that's the best advice I can give. That's what I've been learning. You know, I've been reading a lot, and I see the same patterns, but I also, you know, the stories have so much, they're so interesting, they're so juicy. So I love to share these stories with everyone because it's amazing. So that's all I got. How about yourself?
Yes, my condolences to
Condolences.
Condolences is the word I forgot, man. It's, you know, it's like it's Auntie Carmen Rivera. She passed away on Friday. She's one my ex-wife auntie, and since I was moving to work, I was planning probably visit her or see how she's doing. Or I had been wanting to talk to her, but I got my mind to go over there. And even I told my kids I call it and everything, but they have some issues. I don't know those issues. But it is like I don't understand how, if Jesus forgive, how human being you can forget another person, even the person is sick. You know, it's like and I was in the way say like I don't want no one. Especially to my kids, I don't want no cries, tears, or fade, you know, fading like, oh, I miss her. No, it's like you don't know them, you never was there, so why is the issue you're gonna cry? You know? So regardless about that, it's like no matter who you're doing or no matter what person doing back to you, the person has a life, and it's always a forgive. It's always like you can surrender to the Lord. You surrender to God. Say, Jesus, you know what? I will do my best to get along with it. Even this person is not likable for me, or I hate the most. But the more you hate, the more sin you have it. So if you forget about it, you will get peace, because you will say, you know, I was in the beginning really bad with this person, and now I start to like her. You know. So just like that word in a different way. So you just have to be comprehend the situation. You're talking about a situation with God. Say, God, give me the strength to get out and forgive and make a new relationship. That's all what you need, because when you get it, when the person's gone, that's when you realize, oh, this is a stupid mistake. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. And the things like you're already gone. You can claim it's like kids or sons or daughters, they say, my mom, she's the worst man ever. I don't want to see forever. And you will see when you go to the cemetery, you see like kids like scratching all the, I miss my mom. But you were saying that she was a horrible person. No, she was the best for me. So things like that. Don't let the time pass by. Whatever mistake people has it, say, man, I'm sorry. Was intentional? Yes, I was making this mistake, but I learned it was bad. So now, please free me. I'm asking for forgiveness. That's it. You try. They don't want you to forget. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But it's a try.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is like take care of like yourself inside. You can't change what other people or what God puts in other people's heart, but you can change. You know, hey, I forgive them, and you let go of all the pain that they cause you. You know what I mean? And you let go of the hurt of thinking about it every time that they come up, and you think about God's love, you know, let God's love take the place of that pain. And just love people, and however other people react, it's okay, you know, just, you know, go with where God leads you and do whatever makes you happy in your mission, and go on.
That's it. That's it, pretty much. That's it.
You know, pray us out.
All right, let's pray up. Oh, our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this beautiful day. Also, we thank you with the past few days has been I was experiencing really bad situations, but anyway, you are the best. You're the one who given us the blessings. You're the one who take all the bad things away from us. So we really want to thank you for all these wonderful miracles that you do every day. For the people who is being out there, we owe you. You always give it the strength, you give it the knowledge, and you give it the power. We even they know them. But in the end, they will know your name. They will know who you are, and they will follow you no matter what. Yes, you give it the chance that you are so much love to us. And also we want to ask you, our world we live in right now, we live in a lot of hate. We live in a world like right now we are divided, but you are the only one who can join us together. We get it together. So I asking you as a mortal, as a human being, please keep giving the strength and the faith where we need each one of us, so we can continue with your path, with the legacy of your son Jesus, the one who sacrificed his life for us. His die never gonna get forget. We is gonna continue with his path, and we asking you, just keeping us blessings, regardless our stupidity or mentality. You are the one, you are the Alpha and the Omega, and you know what going to do with us. So we asking this small pray in your son Jesus. Amen.
Great, thanks. Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, happy to be here, and
Happy
look forward
Monday.
to next Sunday or Friday or whenever
Whenever we're ready, we're gonna be
Yeah.
ready. Yeah, sure.
I like this little changing things up.
Yeah, sometimes it's a change for good.
I like it. It's great for me. I think it's important that people know that God doesn't only work on Sunday, that you don't only worship on Sunday, that you worship
He works
Sunday
7 days.
through Sunday.
He works 7 days. He do miracle in the day. Remember that?
Yeah, and so I just think that, yeah, I'm super thankful for you, and thankful that we could, share. All right.
All right. Bye, guys.